Hello, everybody. I hope you are doing well. I hope everything is going well for you and that, and that I need to stop there. So we don't get what do you call it? The reverb there. Now I'm going to set up my chat. One of these days, there's just going to be an easier way to do this. And see, now it's acting funny again. So let's stop our share and let's try sharing again. So, and there we go. Now we can share and make it so I can see what you all are saying. One of these days, it's all going to work. It's all going to come together. That's what I tell myself anyway. So let's pop out our chat. Come on here. Pop out chat. Pop out chat. And hi, Vivian. Hi, Shatara. Hi, Patricia. Hello. And boom pa doo pa doo. How can you join the Zoom meeting? I can't put a chat into I don't know what my settings are. I can't put a chat in or link into the chat here, but if you email me, I'll give you the link for every Wednesday and every Friday. It stays the same. Speaking of everybody, I am so sorry about yesterday. I had something personal, family matter come up, so I had to cancel, but I will reschedule the second half of the math review, probably either next Thursday or Friday. I just need to look at my schedule. So I apologize about that, but thank you everybody for being so patient with that. It's life. Hey, that's why I moved back to Michigan. So, I'm doing this life thing the same way you all are. But let's get into it. Oh, and I guess I should say if you want to email me, ma'am, you can. Let's see, let's restore chat. Here we go. It is this CandiceEllis@gmail.com. There we go. Boop, boop. Hey, Juana. All right, so let's get to it. I think we can do this. And boom. I want to figure out how to make this bigger. I don't know why Zoom is making the question so small. Maybe if I don't share me. I don't know. We'll work on that. Hi, Trisha. We'll work on that. Nope, it stayed the same size. Yes, if you didn't get a response, Vivian, I must have gotten lost. I get so many emails. I want you to end the message, put, a whole bunch of like this, and I promise I will get back to you. A whole bunch of exclamation points, and I will get back to you. So there you go. All right, let's go with number 56. There we go. Which approach to value is the best when appraising a 6-unit apartment building? Which approach to value is best when appraising a 6-unit apartment building? Is it the sales approach to value, the replacement cost, the reproduction cost, or the income approach to value? Hmm. Anybody have an idea? I really got to figure out the layout. Let's see. Layout, content only. That should be it. Huh. I don't know why. I'll try to figure out. It used to be big. Y'all used to get the whole big screen. I don't know why y'all don't anymore. But this, okay, so Patricia, you said D, the income approach. We got one person saying D, the income approach. And I
I'm
do like
saying
that
D.
answer. You say D too?
Yes.
Yep. Because it's the income approach. Value is based off of how much income comes in, right? So I think I need to make this smaller. How do I do that? There we go. Boop, boop. There we go. It's based on the income that comes in. This is going to be for most homes. This and this have to do with the cost approach, which is going to be for unusual properties or things but don't have good comps. And then we got the income approach. Good job. So D is our answer. Love it. Oh, I see y'all online on YouTube. I see y'all with the right answer. All right. Oop, I'm gonna make this smaller so we can see it all. A buyer contracts a property and negotiates a purchase price of $250,000 with a 20% down payment. He has no problem obtaining a 30-year conventional loan for the balance. At 8% full amortization, requires for a monthly payment of $7.34 per thousand. If the lender adds another $250 per month for escrow, what will the buyer pay each month? This is math, but I think this is the type of math, even if you're in California, you need to understand because this is what you're going to be facing in the real world. You are going to have a client who wants to buy a house for $250,000. Now, I do realize in some places, $250,000 will get you a cardboard box. But that's not the point of this problem. We're just saying, hey, there's a contractual sales price of $250,000, and most people don't have that cash. So they do have, however, a 20% down payment. So if we want to know how much the loan is, that means this 250,000, some of it's going to be the 20% down payment and some of it's going to be the loan. Well, I'm just going to do some quick math here because it's not about the math per se, as I want you all to understand why we're doing what we're doing. Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to say $250,000 times 20%. They have $50,000. That's a dollar sign. Y'all just can't tell. Let me see if I change colors here, if that'll be better. They've got $50,000. Yeah. To put down. Which means the loan has to be for $200,000. So you're dealing with somebody who needs a loan for $200,000. All of this, the 30-year conventional at 8% full amortization, the $734 per thousand, and the $250,000, all is about what is the total monthly payment, which is otherwise known as PITI. When somebody buys, oh, you can't see the answer. Is it stuck? Okay, let's try it again. Stop share and share and iPhone and yeah. Let's see if this works. There we go. So now that you all can see what I said is there's a $250,000 loan. Wait, let's see. There we go. There we go. Oh, and we got the bigger screen back a little bit. We got a $250,000 loan, a 20% down payment, and the rest is the loan. Then you have a $50,000 because 20% of 250 is 50,000. The loan needs to be for 200,000. And then all of this stuff is about figuring out what our total monthly payment is, which is called PITI. So my YouTube people, hopefully that makes sense for you now. Thank you, Vivian, for letting me know that you could not see because I did not know that. So thank you. So you got your total monthly payment. It's your PITI. Your PITI, the P and the I, this is what you need for this. This piece of information and this piece of information. That stands for principal and interest. And your taxes and insurance, those are your escrows. So we know that's 250. Like we got this number down. We need to know how much is somebody going to pay in principal and interest every month. And this is just like with a car loan. When you get a car loan, you know that you pay the same amount all 5 years, all 7 years. Well, the same thing is true here. You have a principal and interest payment that doesn't change for 30 years. So you take this 8% and it's for 30 years, and you would use either one of two things. They would give you these two things, and you would find that number, or they'll give you that number. So what I mean by this is this 30 years at 8%. Some of you all on the test aren't going to get this piece. This is the piece that comes from the chart. They gave it to you, but it comes from this chart that you all have seen so many times. The amortization chart that looks like, where is my amortization chart? Word problems. I know I have it. I know I do, y'all. Cap rate, comprehensive. I have so many things open. Here it is. Y'all have seen me do this chart before. In fact, you can see here, up here is the annual percentage rate. We go down to the bottom, but at 8% for 30 years, $7.34, which is what the problem told us. $7.34. Boop. $7.34. This is the idea of amortization. What we're doing is saying you're going to pay $7.34 for every $1,000 borrowed. So if you're borrowing $200,000, I could take 200,000 divided by 1,000. I'm going to get 200. So I'm going to pay $7.34 200 times, and that should give me 7.34 times 200. It's going to give me $14.68. That's what you pay every month for your principal and interest. And notice it's an answer choice here, but it's the wrong answer because you still got to get your TI. You still got to get your taxes and insurance, which is going to be $250 a month. So $14.68 plus $250 equals $17.18. Our answer is D. Now, I know I went quickly through that math. I know I did. But what I want us to take away from this is, and I'm just going to clear all of this out. Clear. Are you going to clear or not? There we go. Boom. What we want to take away is no matter what state you're in, you're going to have to figure out how much the sales price is, whatever the down payment is, there's going to be a loan. And then your buyer's going to want to know what their total monthly payment is. You want to remember P&I is found using the $7.34 per thousand. And then the escrows were $250. And that gave us a total of $17.18. Even if you're not doing the math. If I have a client, so let's say, Vivian, I'm helping you buy a condo. I don't care what state you're in, you're going to have to pay HOA dues because that's where the insurance for the unit comes in. So that means you have a loan payment plus you got your HOA dues, plus you're going to have the P&I, which is your loan payment, plus your escrows, your taxes, and your mortgage insurance. Taxes, not mortgage insurance, your taxes and insurance, your home insurance. That's what I'm trying to say. Home insurance. All that adds up. So when you all are helping people look for houses, especially condos or townhomes, you can't just say, oh, well, we did the math and your loan payment's going to be $14.68. You can't, because we can have hundreds of dollars extra in other payments. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody, but this one I wanted to make more real world. This is going to be important. Y'all have to remember when somebody makes a payment, it's not just loan. They're going to have other payments that have to happen monthly as well. Okay. Could I add PITI to the next live? You've been struggling with this on your own. You know what, Patricia? I sure can. I sure can. I absolutely will. I will. And Patricia, you know what? Why don't we do a recording of just me and you going over PITI? Email me, Patricia, and we'll set one up. It'll be a recording to help everybody. All right. That's enough math for me. Yeah, I'm done mathing for the day. I, it's not that I don't love math. I don't. But I do want you all to understand it enough so it doesn't cause you to, get sued. So 59, the best way to define market price is. The best way to define market price, and remember, there's a difference between market price versus market value. Let's see if they got it right on this question. The actual selling price of a property. B is the most probable price a property should bring in a fair sale. C, the price represents normal consideration for the property. Or D, the price is not affected by unusual circumstances. Anybody have a clue? All of those are pretty good. I gotta say, all of those are pretty good answers. Anybody know? Anybody got a clue what it could be?
Pretty tricky.
Was there anyone that you can eliminate? I'll eliminate one first. I'm going to eliminate D. The price is not affected by unusual circumstances. No, that's a nothing. Remember, price is subjective. So unusual circumstances are going to affect a price. But the key word here is a market price. And market price is going to, when we talk about market price or market value, we're talking about, hey, this is just a normal situation. There's not like a short sale or a foreclosure or somebody has to sell or has to buy. It's just when we talk about like a market price, market value, just, hey, what's normally going on?
I think B.
All right. Patricia, you said B. Vivian said B or C. And then Caroline, was that you that said B?
Yes.
All right. So we got 3 B's. And
Me
so
too.
you said market price. Okay. So unfortunately, guys, this isn't the answer. Womp womp.
Oh,
But let's talk about why. Remember, there's market value versus market price. When you hire an appraiser is looking for the value. It's an opinion. It's the appraiser's opinion of what they think the house will sell for. Market price is what it actually sells for. So for example, let's say that Patricia, you put your house on the market. You put your house on the market and you get an appraisal. So the seller's appraisal says her house is worth $625,000. Just because the appraiser says it is worth $625,000, is that a guarantee somebody's going to offer that amount? Absolutely not. She might list it for 625, and that would be the market value. It's the opinion of the appraiser. Market price is, hey, if is it Shatara? I can never remember if it's Tara or Tara. I'm sorry. So I'll just go with Vivian because I know I'm saying it right. So if Vivian wants to buy Patricia's house, she might only want to offer 615,000. And if that's what Patricia takes, that's the market price. In fact, do I have my full slides? Here we go. I think the best way to show this to you would be in my slides. Here you go. Excuse me. So an appraisal is when an appraiser gives you an estimate of value, and it's only good for 1 day in theory. It's good for 1 day in theory. Value is what the appraiser is finding. It's a monetary worth based on desirability. And market value is saying it's the appraiser's opinion of value based on analysis of data. That's why it's only good for one day. Because if an appraiser does an appraisal on Monday and some houses close Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for a much higher or much lower point price, that could affect what the appraiser thinks it's worth. Shatara. Okay, I know Shatara. Okay, I'm gonna get that. Like I'm gonna think like star. Shatara. There we go. So, but that's important to me to get it right. So that market value, that's why it's good for one day because the data changes a couple days later. It's the appraiser's opinion of value versus market price is what a property actually sells for. And then there's cost is what would it take to make it. This is a really important point for us to understand. And if you want to look at it this way, we got value, an appraiser's opinion of worth versus price is what the was actually paid for the property. Take a moment, take a screenshot, y'all. Make sure you know this one. This is really important. All right. Hopefully y'all got a screenshot of it. So let's go back to our questions. So somebody in here had said C. It's not B. We know it's not D. Come back here. Somebody said C. The price represents normal consideration for the property. It's got some big words like normal consideration, but consideration is just the thing of value that's exchanged. That's not the best definition of market price. This is the definition of market price, the actual selling price of the property. So yes, Patricia, it's the verbiage you watch out for. You want to make sure that you've got down the difference between market price versus market value. It's all about the words. There we go. All right. Hopefully we all learned something from that. That was a big one. And let me scroll up here. Which is not an example of a buyer's agency agreement? Which is not. And so we know that not should be screaming at us. And that tells us that 3 are examples. So there's 3 trues, and there's going to be 1 false. That's the not. So is an exclusive buyer agency a type of buyer agency? Yeah, that sounds right. So this is a true statement. It's not our answer. An open buyer's agency. I don't think I've ever heard of that before. Nino, hey, Nino. He says D, a net buyer agency. All right. He says D, a net buyer agency. Isn't that what you're saying that that's a false? An exclusive agency, buyer agency. Okay. Well, exclusive agency. So we could break this down an exclusive to that, I guess firm to that. I would probably say that's a true one. So that's not our answer. So we're down between B and C. What's not real? Anybody else got a thought?
I'm in between B and D. I don't know.
Oh, sorry, I said B and C, but I'm going to say B and D. Well, let's think about what open means. If it was an open listing, then only the agent that finds, I guess, the house would get paid. I would assume that means that, hey, I'm going to use multiple agents, but the only agent who's going to get paid is the one that actually helps me find the property. I'm not exclusively dating any one firm or any one broker. A net agency agreement would mean anything, when you have a net listing, the seller will say, I want to sell for $100,000, and anything extra is your commission. And I don't think that could work with a net buyer. Anything extra like that, if you, it's not a thing. That is not a thing. So I'm gonna have to agree with Nino on this one. It is a net buyer agency. I have not heard of a net buyer agency. And I won't even lie, open buyers agency sounds a little suspect. Like I don't hear a lot of people saying that, but it's just non-exclusive. If I really think about it, an open buyers agency is non-exclusive buyers agency, and that is a thing. You can have buyers that say, "Hey, I'm going to have you show me a house, but you're not the only agent I'm working with." So there you go. Yeah, Trisha, you've never heard of net buyer agency? I have not either, and I've been doing this a number of years. So there you go. Good job, Nino. Love it. All right. And hopefully you all can see how I broke that down. We know that this open buyers agency, I could think of a non-exclusive agency, and if I wasn't sure about it, I related it to what it was in the seller. What would be a seller net and what would be a open, like a seller's open agency. All right, 61. All of the following are economic principles that can affect the value of real estate except. All of the following are economic principles that can affect the value of real estate except. So we got these excepts. That means three are true, one is false. We got competition, contribution, change, and cost. Yeah, Vivian, I think all of us are kind of like, what? We've never heard of this net agency. And Caroline hadn't either. Yeah, you know what? And that's the great thing about doing these practice questions. None of us had a test question or anything that's used that term net buyer agency before. And now if we get it on the exam, because don't forget, I'm taking my Michigan exam soon. Now all of us can say, well, we know that's not a thing. I love that. That's what I love about practice questions. So, which ones are economic principles that can affect the value of real estate? Except three are ones that are true, they are the economic principles, and one is not. So, for this one, Nino, you said A, Patricia, you said A. But this one, I'm going to go ahead and tell you all the answer on this. We always learn something new. I see y'all. This is what they said in the chat.
C?
You said C, change. We got
Yes.
that. Well, I'm going to go back to my slides, guys, and show you because there's two different things we need to know. There's what the pillars of value is. These are I want to call it like the features of value. All things with value have demand. So somebody has to want it. Utility has to be some use. Scarcity. And it's got to be, meaning it's got to be, you remember what happened when we had COVID and you couldn't get toilet paper? And then transferability, meaning it has to be able to be transferred from one person to another. So demand, utility, scarcity, and transferability. Right? Here are our economic principles of value. So this, when I think of the economic principles, this part, we're talking about how do these things affect the money value of something? The difference is these are concepts of, hey, if this happens, or I don't want to say this, it is weird. It's you got your dust, which is your features of value. Anything with value has demand, utility, scarcity, transferability, and these things are things that can affect the actual value. So you got substitution. The idea if two things are similar, people want to pay the lower price. Like, you've gone shopping, you see something at the store, and there's two of them. One has a price tag for 14.50 and the other has a price tag for $19 because the price went up and they forgot to do one. All of us are picking up the 14.50. Right? Anticipation means it, and this is the one that our appraisals are based off of. Anticipation is the idea there's value because you're anticipating future utility or use in it. Progression and regression says, hey, if you have a property, the surrounding properties could either make the value go up or down. Conformity means if things have more value when they are similar to the things around it. Contribution is the idea is that you can add value, but you can't add an endless amount of value. There's only so much lipstick you can put on that pig. Competition is the idea is that when things sell well, there's going to be somebody who's going to bring something similar. So if I discover what my favorite thing is? Chocolate milk, I know. But I'm allergic to one of the milk proteins, and there's a milk called A2, and it's from Jersey cows. And it was so hard to find at first. But there's a lot of people like me that are allergic to the casein and dairy, not the lactose, but the casein. Now, when I go to the grocery store, I got 3 or more options besides the original A2 milk. That's the idea of competition. Oh, I think I'm going to change my picture. I'm going to put a picture of A2 milk there. So change is, the same in life as it is with something now, right? I know hot chocolate in the morning is the best, Nino. I'm with you on there, right? Change the idea that nothing stays static, instead, including prices. If your grandfather bought an acre of land, the value has gone up. It has. It never just stays the same. And then supply and the demand. I know you all got, this idea in real estate. Is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? What is the supply and demand doing? That's going to affect the value. These are your economic principles of value. And if somebody wants to take a screenshot of this, they can. I want to make sure that you all have those. But going back to our question, what all of this was based off of, boom, we know competition is an economic principle. We know contribution is an economic principle. We know change is an economic principle. Cost is not, so cost is our answer. Yeah. And this can be just as simple as just the more you learn your acronyms, there you go. It's cost. So hopefully that helps. All right. Yep, Nino, you got it. It's D. Number 62. Linda has a 3-year lease on her apartment. Hold on. At the end of 3 years, A, the landlord must notify her if he wants her to vacate. B, she must give the landlord 1 month's notice of termination or departure. C, she may remain because an estate for years automatically renews. Or D, neither party needs to give any other information, give the other any notice of termination. You always thought cost was conformity. Okay, so before we get back to 62, let's say you said you thought cost was the same as conformity. So let's address that. Cost is, and you know what? I showed y'all dust instead of it. Cost takes us back to, there's a difference between market value, market price, and the cost. Or cost is all about, boop, here. Cost is what it would take to build a house. So the cost of materials would be $325. That's the cost. But then an appraiser would value it at 365 and then somebody buys it. Maybe somebody bought it at 360. That could be the cost. I mean, the price. So cost is about what does it take to build it? Or I like to go, right now for like the last year, my favorite thing, one of my favorite things has been sourdough English muffins. Could I make sourdough English muffins? Yeah, but I'm gonna have to buy yeast and I guess the sourdough starter, not yeast and water and everything else and the bread pan or that's the cost of making it. And then it's going to have butter, which means I'm going to have to buy some real milk and then, create the butter that needs salt. Ain't nobody got time for that. That's the cost. The value is what the appraiser thinks. The price is what it actually sells for. All right. So you got all that going. Versus when we're talking about conformity, conformity is this idea that things have value when they conform. So if you've ever gone to Ross Dress for Less, right? You might have a pack of socks for at Ross. And maybe there's 12 socks for $7.99. But if you go to Target, that same pack might be $21.99. And maybe the reason the pack at Ross is cheaper is because the color was slightly off. Now, because the color on that pack of socks was slightly off, that doesn't conform to the other quote unquote normal socks, so it's worth less. So it's when we talk about conformity, it's this idea that things hold their value when they conform. When the color's slightly off, you would lose value. You always told yourself, I got to spend money to conform for the house, conform the home for society. That would, yeah, that would work. Conformity means it has to match everything else. So if you're saying you've got to conform to society, yeah, if society doesn't want the slightly off color one. So that might help. Cost and conformity are definitely very different. And I'm a big fan of, y'all have heard me say it, in finance and valuation. Because we're not appraisers, because we're not bankers, a lot of those questions are going to be based just on vocab. So knowing the differences, even the slight differences to this vocab will make a huge difference. So Patricia, that was a great question. Unlike 62. Linda has a 3-year lease on her apartment at the end of 3 years. Well, we know when it comes to our non-freehold estates, choose a different color so it'll stick out. Our non-freehold estates, we've got an estate for term or an estate for years. You have a periodic, an estate for period to period or periodic tenancy. You have an estate at will, and you have an estate at sufferance. Now, this question says it's a 3-year lease. It did not give us much information here. Well, okay, let's see here. I know it's not an estate at sufferance. No problem, Elena. It's not an estate at sufferance because the sufferance is when somebody had a legal lease and then doesn't leave and they have an estate at sufferance. The landlord has to use the course to get them out. It's not that. Now, Vivian says D, somebody said B. All right. We know it's not. Got here. Come back here. Boop. Well, it doesn't really tell us. So we have to go through. It doesn't tell us much. We got to go through here. An estate for term or an estate for years, it just ends. Just ends. At the end, you got to go. And the periodic tenancy, it auto renews. An estate at will, has no set terms, no set period. Um, I'll say period. So since this problem didn't tell us much, I have to assume at the end of 3 years, it's not going to auto renew. I got to just imagine that it ends. So I got to go with answer D too. Neither party needs to give the other any notice of termination. When it ends, it just ends. The estate for term or the estate for years. If it automatically renewed, it would have to say Linda has a 3-year lease, and when her 3 years is over, it'll go into another 3-year lease. Then it would be automatically renewing, right? And an estate for years doesn't automatically renew. It is the periodic tenancy. So even if you didn't know if C was the answer, it couldn't be because that's a wrong statement. She must give the landlord 1 month's notice of termination or departure. Um, yeah, I mean, we don't know that. We don't know, and that can actually vary by state. But she has a 3-year lease. I mean, when it's over, it's over. It's not B. And then A, the landlord must notify her if he wants her to vacate. He can't force her out. She's got a 3-year lease. It's an estate, and we know an estate means you have the right to live there. We know an estate means you have the right to live there. So very helpful, but not the answer. Yep, the answer is D. There y'all go. Yay. All right. Ready to keep on going. By the way, my goal is, I was telling this to Caroline before everybody got here. I am literally working on a TikTok channel. So I'll have like clips of these lives in case you just want to see like 5 minutes of stuff. And I'll try to go live on TikTok at different times too. So I'm just trying to make myself more accessible because I love doing these lives with you all. I really do. This is what makes my day. Like somebody was like, hey, do you want to go furniture shopping today? I was like, oh no, I got my live with my people. I got to do some real estate questions with my people. Y'all don't even know. I love doing this with y'all.
And we all appreciate it, Candace. Thank you
Oh,
very much.
well, you are so very welcome. Yeah. And people be like, you don't have any friends. You don't go anywhere. All my friends are online. They're real estate students. Okay. I like those people better. All right. One of the newer developments in mortgage lending is the use of, interesting. I mean, newer to me or like newer to you? I don't know. Let's see what this one, I don't know where this one's going. One of the newer developments in mortgage lending is the use of computerized loan origination, adjustable rate mortgages, wraparound mortgages, or regional reserve banks. Okay, guys, I don't even know. I don't even know where this one is going, so let's do it together. I don't. Oh, you all are so welcome. I enjoy it. The one I would eliminate first, I'm just telling y'all how I would do it, is going to be D. Regional reserve banks has to be doing with the Federal Reserve System. And that's not new. I mean, that's not new at all. I don't know when the Federal Reserve start. Actually, you know what it's time for? We got to call Unc. Boop, boop, boop. Come on, phone. Let's call the uncle. Mm-mm-mm. Hey, Uncle Ray, when did the Federal Reserve regional banks, when was that a thing? When did that start?
Hey, Candace. So the whole system of Federal Reserve regional banks actually started back in 1913. That was when the Federal Reserve Act was passed, and it officially created the Federal Reserve System. It set up 12 regional banks across different parts of the country, and those have been around ever since. So yeah, it's definitely been a thing for over a century now.
Definitely not new. I think over a century goes with not new. So it's not the reserve rate. Wraparound mortgages is basically a type of seller financing. So that's not going to be it. And adjustable rate mortgages, we know are ARMs. That's where your rate can go up and down based on what they're. It's got to be A, computerized loan origination, because computers are new compared to 1913, I guess. Let me see. Let me check. I think our answer is A, though. Yeah, the answer A is the only new. That's what I think. Yeah, B and C is not new. That's what I'm saying, too.
Yeah.
So, and yep, the answer is A. Hey. There. Y'all, this is what I want y'all to do. If you're like me and you got these computers are taking over, that's why we should all be nice to our AI. I always tell Alexa, Alexa, stop. But thank you for listening. Um, and Uncle Ray and Siri and all those. I'm so nice to them because one of them might have my life in their hands. Have y'all seen that Will Smith movie?
I
Just
know,
saying.
right?
I'm
Oh my
just
God.
saying, y'all. Just saying. Be nice to your AI. You never know when the tables could turn. All right, 64. A subdivider must place in the public records a map of the property known as a. Oh, good. This is just a vocab one. Who knows the answer? A subdivider must place in the public records a map of the property known as a plan, a zone, a plot, or a plat. Something that starts with a P. We'll go ahead and I'll tell you it's not Z.
Oh, it's not D?
It said not B.
Oh, is it
No,
D?
it is D. D is our answer. It is a subdivision plat. Remember, when you go to the Register of Deeds, all sorts of things besides deeds are recorded, and you will usually have a plat book. There'll be a book of nothing but subdivision maps. There you go. Plat. We like the easy ones, especially when we get the weird ones like 63. All right. Woo! 65 is long, but we got this. 65 is long, but we got it. Mary owned fee simple title to a lot next door to a church. She gave the lot to the church as a gift. However, she wanted to make sure it would always be used for church purposes. Her attorney prepared her deed to convey ownership of the lot to the church, so long as it is used for church purposes. The church owns A, fee simple estate, B, fee simple determinable estate, C, fee simple absolute estate, or D, fee simple defeasible estate.
Candice, I think it's
Defeasible.
B. B.
Oh, hey, Elena.
Okay. Hey, Elena. So I had somebody say B. Is that what you said, Elena? B is in boy?
Yes. Yes, I think yes.
All right. Anybody else with a thought?
Yes, B.
Okay. You said B too, Caroline?
Yes.
Okay. So we know it's not a fee simple estate. That's not enough. Like this is usually going to be assumed to be a fee simple absolute. And it's not a fee simple absolute because there's this, hey, you can, as long as it's used for church purposes. And if we look at our chart, we know there's fee simple or there's fee simple defeasible. Our answer is not D because there's a better answer choice. A lot of people online are saying D, but it's not D because B is the better answer. We know, well, I guess fee simple absolute. There you go. We talked about that. But we know the fee simple determinable. The fee simple determinable, it has to do with these words right here. So long as. If you take a test question and you see so long as, boom, it is fee simple determinable. And we can look at this and make it make more sense by taking a look at, boom, You know what? Probably be easier. Oh my gosh, why didn't I do that before? And erase this. So here are our states. Fee simple absolute is by itself, but our defeasible estate has two types. conditional, and determinable. So this is not wrong. This is just a better, more specific answer. There you go. All right. But B's the better choice. Exactly, Nina. Exactly. All right. Let's do another one. No, too many numbers. Oh, more numbers. Okay, now you all do as I say, not as I do. When you get to the test, I do not want you all going, ooh, numbers. Even though I'll do that on my own test. But we got these numbers. We've got these numbers. And Vivian, even though it's a condition, I see you said there's a condition, the type of condition, so long as it is a fee simple determinable. All right. 68. The broker agrees to accept as her fee any monies received above the stipulated amount. This is improper because this arrangement constitutes what?
And this D, it's a
D.
net listing. Net listing.
Yes.
You know, I almost want to say it's A because it constitutes a conflict of interest and you would call it a net listing. Yeah.
You can decide now about like everything above amount. It's like net listing.
Yeah,
Above
you're
or
right.
That's what
beyond.
got me there too with the above.
Yeah, the above. I mean, it is a net listing. I mean, I'm guessing the answer is D, net listing. I just don't like this answer. Because, yeah, that's why it's illegal in some states and, not looked favorably upon in some states because it is a conflict of interest. It puts you in a bad position. But I'm going to go with D because that is the definition of a net listing. But that was just like she was just saying it's the actual cause, but a conflict of interest is the action. I know this is one. I'm going to go see what their answer is. It's either D or it's A. And I don't know which one they're going to say, but the arrangement creates a net listing is a conflict. It can be a conflict of interest. So I feel like both of those are right. But I'm going to go with D because that's the definition, and maybe
also
they're
it's
thinking
above.
A is dual agency, but I don't like A. I don't like it. But I'm going to go with D, fingers crossed, but because A is stupid and I don't like it. All right, let me see. Let me look it up. 68. I got to move my slide. All right. They said the answer is D, a net listing. You all are correct. See, I would probably sit there and overthink it because I'm like, but a net listing is a conflict of interest. Again, questions like this can't happen on the exam because too many of us would choose A as well. Too many of us would check A. I mean, a net listing is problematic because it is a conflict of interest. It's just, I guess this is the better answer because that's the name for it. This is a yuck for me. This question is a yuck question. I know, and since I rule the world, we're going to go with, I don't like that question. What a good one to end on. I like this one.
A bad question, Candace.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I said a bad question.
Oh, bad question. Yeah, right. Littoral and riparian, or riparian littoral, or littoral rights belong to owners of. Everybody put your answers in. I know you know this. A homestead, subsurface minerals, land bordering bodies of water, or remainder and reversionary interests. I know everybody knows this.
See?
See, everything belongs there, like water.
Yep, we know these are rivers and streams. These are going to be lakes and oceans. And with that, boys and girls, we are done with our hour. I just really could do this with you all day. I think this should be like an extra class a school pays me to teach for you all. This is
Can we do more? Candice, because I'm late. Sorry, I'm
Oh
joking.
yeah, we can do. Let's do. You know what we're gonna do? Let's do two more, just because I wasn't here yesterday for the math thing. So let's do two more. A broker takes a sale agreement to a seller for full price. The seller states he will not accept this agreement because the buyers are Puerto Rican. The broker should do which of the following? A, abide by the principal's directions and return the offer to the selling broker. B, explain to the owner that his refusal to sign because of the buyer's race violates federal laws. C, bring sales agreement to the seller from the non-Puerto Rican buyers only. Bring sales agreements to the seller from non-Puerto Rican buyers only. There you go. And D, have the buyers purchase a different property. What are we thinking?
I think it's B.
I think it's B.
It's violate because the owner violate the fair housing law and
Yep.
discrimination.
It's B. We know this one. I mean, really, you're not going to sell it to somebody because they're Puerto Rican? Is it different money or something? It's money's money. I don't understand people. Not to mention the ethical things behind it, but I'm like, dude, it's money to sell the house. So it's B, right? Cannot follow that. Remember, guys,
Yeah.
race is never going to be, I don't know if you call that race or nationality. You cannot. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. All right, there's some more math. We're going to skip that. Let's do 73. Both buyer and seller must consent to the agent's role in the transaction so that they know. Okay. Both buyer and seller must consent to the agent's role in the transaction so that they know A, who is responsible for the commission, B, whether they need a lawyer, C, whom to ask about hidden defects, or D, whether their disclosures will be held in confidence. Well, I know the
Maybe
answer.
C?
You said which one?
Maybe C?
You said, who to ask about hidden defects. Well, if they're a hidden defect, I don't know if that's going to change depending on the agent's role, because even if it's hidden, it would always be a material fact in every state I know of that would have to be disclosed.
So it would be
What about
D, the
D?
disclosures.
Candice, what about D?
Yeah,
Yes.
I like D as well.
Yeah.
Me too. I like D.
Me too.
Patricia, you said you have a question about this. Did you have a question? Let's go back. Did you have a question about the fair housing, or did you have a question about the agency? So go ahead, Patricia. I know there's a little bit of a lag. I'm gonna use the time to get some water. Which one did you have a question on? You said, so in school I was told that Spanish is not a race so that they could be denied. Absolutely not. They could be denied because Spanish, I mean, I never agreed with the thought of denying ethnicity. That's what I'm trying to say. You cannot, but you are just a student. Patricia, please tell me who your student was and your teacher was, because absolutely not.
That's still a
Ethnicity,
protective class,
it's
isn't
still
it?
a protected class. Patricia, I'm so glad that you asked that question, because when we think of, let me get to a screen. Hey, stop that. When we think of fair housing, we got, ooh, that's huge. Fred's Corn. We know we have familial status. You have race, which we pretty much have, right? We have disability, both physical and mental. We have sex. Now, we know that includes your sex. I like to say what parts you're born with, your gender, how you identify, and your sexual orientation. Who do you decide to spend your nights with? You got color, you got religion, and you've got national origin. So I've heard it both ways. Race can cover ethnicity and national origin because, right? But this is where it doesn't matter. Either way, it is covered, although ethnicity is different. And the best way I can show that to you all, this is why I have slides, because this is a great question. And I want to make sure everybody is full on this. Let's see. Full slides. Give me a second. I have a lot of slides when I teach y'all, if you only knew. All right. What am I looking for? That's agency. I need fair housing. Agency contracts and fair housing. Where'd it go? What am I looking for? Here we go. This is what I'm looking for. This picture down here, the difference between race and ethnicity. I mean, it's covered under both. Ethnicity is what you, how you, almost like gender. It's what you choose. In fact, this picture is great. Ethnicity is the learned behaviors, and I'm right here, from different cultures, traditions, and customs of various regions of the world. Race is the heritage you were born with, regardless of the location, right? You can either accept or reject your or change your ethnicity, but you cannot alter your race. So either way, I've seen different books say it falls under either. You're gonna get sued. Race and ethnicity, national origin, I can see they're not, even though they're not the same, sometimes people will just say, well, yeah, it's race, ethnicity. You can't do it. I am not an attorney, or especially on fair housing stuff. I don't know which exact one it would fall under. We're going to ask Uncle Ray, but it's going to be wrong either way. Do not listen to your teacher, and maybe send me an email who they are, because I will send them a very nice letter. I would actually send them a very nice letter, and I'm like, I'm sure she just heard this wrong. But you do know that's not a right statement. But let's see what Uncle Ray has to say. Hey, Uncle Ray, when it comes to the federal fair housing laws, I know you cannot discriminate based on ethnicity. Is that officially connected to race, or is it because you can't discriminate based on national origin? If somebody were to sue, how would they get in trouble? How would that work?
Hey, Candace. So basically, the Federal Fair Housing Act is pretty clear that you can't discriminate on a bunch of different grounds, and both race and national origin are separately listed as protected categories. In other words, there's a protection against discriminating based on someone's race, and there's also separate protection against discriminating based on where they come from, which is the national origin part. So if someone were to file a lawsuit, the claim might specify whether the alleged discrimination was because of their race, their national origin, or potentially both. And both are equally enforceable under the law. So yeah, they could definitely get in trouble if it turns out they did either of those things.
But what about specifically for ethnicity?
Gotcha. So when we talk about ethnicity under the Fair Housing Act, it's actually not a separately listed protected category. Instead, the idea of ethnicity is usually covered under those other protections like race or national origin. So if someone were discriminated against because of their ethnic background, it would typically fall under either the race category or the national origin category, depending on the details. In practice, that means if someone were to sue, they likely frame it in terms of those existing protections. Either way, it's definitely covered. It's just that ethnicity itself is kind of wrapped into those broader categories.
Thank you. See? I like it when Uncle Ray confirms what I was like, it just kind of falls under both. So with that, hopefully this helps you all. And Patricia and anybody else, feel free to take a picture of this, the difference between ethnicity and race. We also have this. I mean, I can't see this being necessarily tested, but I do think when it comes to lawsuits for fair housing, you want to be really educated on this.
It's
Right.
good to know.
It is good to know. Yeah, it
Mhm.
is great to know. So, with that, Miss Elena, when is your test?
Candice, it's next Wednesday on the
Next
24th.
Wednesday.
On the
Okay,
24th.
well, reach out to me if you want to go over one more points video, points. You and I can do that together. I know you're gonna do great on Wednesday. Everybody else, oh, Trisha says good luck. We're all
Thanks so
wishing you
much,
the
guys.
best of luck. And you
Thank
know
you.
what? I mean, I want you to pass, but if you don't, you can spend more time with me, and I'm okay with that too. Yay!
I know Candice, but too
It's a
long time.
win. It's a win for me either way. So
Yes.
guys, look out on Wednesday. You know what? Let me decide right now while I'm thinking about it. Let me look at my calendar.
Candice, let's do Tuesday night if it's possible.
It is possible. Send me an email. Tuesday night will be fine. I'm thinking next Friday, the 26th, I'll redo the math. So Friday the 26th, loosely, that's what I'm going to say, guys. Patricia, you said we had a bunch of folks talking about that when it came to fair housing. Oh, you don't have to apologize, Patricia, for taking extra time. Never. That is such a good question. And fair housing is one of my favorite topics to teach. So, Elena, you're going to do great, but you're going to email me so I can help you with some discount points. If anybody else wants to come just for the discount points on Tuesday night, shoot me an email. I will just do discount points. So, Tuesday,
Candice,
Elena, what time?
we're gonna be 8:30 in the morning.
Oof, you want it to be
No, sorry. I put like Wednesday, but Tuesday doesn't matter whatever is okay for you.
okay.
Whatever is
What
work for you.
about why don't we do 6 p.m. Tuesday? And that's gonna be Tuesday the Tuesday the 23rd. Email me, Elena, so I can put it and give you the link. And it's gonna be discount points. I'll give you the link for there. Why does Uncle Ray talk so handsome? Because ChatGPT knew what they were doing. They did. That's what my mom said too. And I was like, ew, Mom, it's your brother that I think he sounds like. Ew, stop that. Stop that. Ew.
Hey, Candace, is it still the same link?
No, you know what? Yeah, yes, let's use this link.
Use this one?
This link for Tuesday.
Okay.
Use this link for Tuesday. If you're somebody in the YouTube room and you don't have this link, email me. You know my email is CandiceEllis@gmail. I'm going to be doing some discount points. 6 p.m. Tuesday, the 23rd of September. It's going to be this link, but email me if you need it. Guys, again, thank you so much for letting me do family stuff last night. We'll do Friday probably the whole math review, but Tuesday at least discount points and any other math questions you have, just to make sure Elena's going to rock this test on Wednesday.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're
Thank
going to
you.
be great. I will see
Okay.
everybody next time. Bye,
Bye,
everybody.
Candace.
But Candice,
Bye,
I hope you
everybody.
an email in the morning. I don't know
Yes.
if you saw.
That's
And
fine.
okay, I'm gonna send you one more and to tell you about like Tuesday, right?
Yes. Yep. That'll
Okay,
be great.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
All
much.
right.
Have
Bye,
a wonderful
everybody.
weekend. We love you, Candice. Bye bye.
Oh, thanks. I love y'all too.